Welcome to my channel, Life and Living. Today I have a beautiful couple with me, Dr. Soma Chowdhury and Dr. Bhaswar, Maity.
Thank you.
I mean, the kind of, the research happens, like people, those who are not sick, the normal people, hale and hearty. They went to a doctor says, give me a DNA samples, and they, diagnosed, yes, you are fit and fine, you have no this kind of cells, you have no... Are there any, government is working on this kind of, I don't know. I have never heard.
Cost factor is a very big concern here. Because
there are two things I would say. One is the availability of the right tool. And second is the cost associated. And third, and the most important thing in country like India is you do need a massive infrastructure to run such kind of studies. Because these require a bit of precision in terms of the laboratory practices to be maintained. I must say government has taken a lot of initiative. If you look at the recent examples of working on sickle cell anemia, if you look at government has a prolonged 5 years specific plan for rare cell diseases or rare diseases.
Just like the way they have done for multi-drug resistant tuberculosis.
Yes, that's pretty known, but rare diseases are a variety of the diseases. They are so rare that means it happens once in a lakh or once in a million.
Correct,
Even for those kind of genetic diseases, government has a specific plan rolled out. So there are network of laboratories which are working, cataloging them. So tomorrow, by knowing the genetic admixture of such a large variety of the Indian people, for each one of them, there will be a representative population group which is contributing to catalog those information.
Such studies also going on for Alzheimer's disease these days.
Of course, yes. There are neurobiology is one of the major field on that. But yes, Government of India is definitely working on that. Definitely.
Actually, the infrastructure, the basic
absolutely yes.
infrastructure and the doctors.
I can give an interesting study on that. So there is a company based in Hyderabad. They offer a solution based on DNA analysis. It's called Genome Patri. So Janam Patri is what you know as your Kundli or horoscope. They call it Genome Patri. So they study your entire DNA. They map back every possible locations and they give you a complete exhaustive report and it tells you what is your genetic backbone, how lucky you are in terms of the lottery or the genetic lottery you got from your parents, and what is the strength area of your biology, what metabolism is good, what is not happening good, what kind of food is good for you, what kind of drugs are better for you, what kind of difficulties may happen in future. So they give you complete, just like a Janam Kundli analysis, they do a genome Kundli. And I strongly recommend many people who can actually, get aware about this. This is not a very, very costly test. There are many medical tests which are much more costlier than this, but this can actually give you an amazing way of looking at your genome information and know thyself. It's like not in a spiritual way, but in a more biological way, know thyself. Your genome will tell you all good things, all bad things, what you are more prone to, what psychological problem you might have, how your metabolism is working, when you cross 40, what sort of food is good for you, what kind of genes, for example, will you have diabetes, will you have cancer, will you have neurological problem. These all diversified into different area, and I'm sure people will love to know. Even in sports today, there is a specific medicine called sports medicine, right? So there is a specific area where people can select based on the genetic abilities that who are the people who has that tenacity, who has that muscular strength, who has the body capacity in a more athletic way, right? You'll be surprised to know. So Government of India has initiated a couple of years before a very interesting study to look at the military forces which goes into the extreme weather conditions. What sort of genetic makeup can enable those people to sustain better, because in those conditions the oxygen will be very low, so they have to sustain at a low oxygen condition, which we scientifically call hypoxia. Like if you go to Ladakh today, people normally recommend to go by road travel, so that you slowly accustom your body and the body start living with a low oxygen condition. If you take a flight and land up there, most of the people get a shock because the oxygen suddenly drops. So the people who continuously staying there, they need to have a very different lung capacity or a biological process of adjusting to that climate, extreme weather condition. So Government of India rolled out a study to genetically look at that which sort of people can actually sustain better in terms of their own makeup. So they can select out the right people to be available there, and they do not fall sick in that condition. So this is one of the examples where genetics today can be holistically adopted in every possible field. We talked about
To
athletics,
optimize the,
we talked about the
outputs.
military situations, and tomorrow we believe, just like you have the barcodes for most of the product, in your credit cards or in your other kind of identity cards, tomorrow there will be a barcode coming in which will be a DNA barcode. And that DNA barcode will contain all your information. So in any extreme condition, you just need to scan that code, and people will get to know whether it's be insurance industry or it's be medical industry or be a teaching or even maybe an employment. People look at and say, hey, you're more suitable to be a managerial job. You might be more suitable for an artistic job. I mean, it might sound quite ambitious today on a lighter note, but I'm sure tomorrow, because all those different genetic makeup can actually predict what is your way, natural way to flourish in that particular domain.
It may be with the other card also.
Yeah, so
This
that's
barcode
what-
Of
is,
course,
you
yes,
know.
of course,
that's
yes,
what
yeah.
the way genetic researchers have been going leaps and bounds. I think in another 10 years we can't even imagine where we are going to stand. And now with the advent of AI, things are going to even move faster.
And if you look at classic example, if you just go to your nearby market, you look at all nice looking vegetables available. They are very glossy. They are so fresh looking. They are 100% today genetically modified.
Modified, yeah.
They are not in its original form when it was actually came like that specific type of the vegetable it is. We have been able to modify majority of the crops or the food vegetables to make it more prone towards a better sustainability, better packaging, higher yields, and eventually we need these vegetables to grow to a larger extent, so that
can
with
cater to
growing
larger
population,
population.
the food demand is also growing multifold. So our agricultural land is not increasing. We cannot pump in suddenly a new land area where we can actually do agriculture. So we need to increase the yield of that.
Do you
And
call it organic vegetables? No, organic.
No, they're known as genetically
they are
modified.
called GMO,
GMO,
or genetically modified
origin.
organisms.
Then are they good for the health? I mean, the more chemicals is been used.
Well, this is an interesting area,
yeah.
but I believe truly it's the same question people asked when the COVID vaccines were produced in a very short period of time. And the very first question people started asking, is this really safe for me? There could be possible long-term effects, but in the laboratory when these materials are prepared and then finally rolled to the market for public consumptions, I can tell you 100% of the cases scientists are evidence-based way clear that they are free from any kind of damaging impact. What is possible in a laboratory infrastructure to understand, all possible risk assessment are definitely being made. We have, being in India, I think there are many different agricultural research institutes in India. We have institute for rice, we have institute for wheat, we have institute for pulses, we have institute for potato, we have institute for bananas, we have for jute, and almost for all different variety of vegetables. And each one of them specified to look at only that particular crop. The IARI, which is based in Pusa, New Delhi, they have done tremendous amount of work, and I think more than 10 different varieties they have actually rolled out to the farmers of India, which has a better grain in terms of their length. We have actually
rice.
modified the basmati to an extent which actually yields better, which has a better fragrance. The grains are longer, so this has a more demanding qualities in the market itself. Also, beyond this cosmetic part of rice grains, we have worked on many different rice grains, the IRI Institute, and they've created specific seeds which can grow in a highly tolerant atmosphere, because not every agricultural land we have a better water supply. There might be requirement of growing that water in a heavy flooded areas, because those natural processes are not in our control. We can control the way we can create a rice grain or rice species which can grow in a flooded area, stay there for 45 days in half-marged condition, or they can grow at a very low water resource condition, drought condition. So these are the different areas on which genomics or DNA biology has worked. The crops are being modified to enable the better agriculture for the society, and eventually not just medicine. In every sphere of today, the science is almost everywhere. I think you can't deny, but biological science, it is no lesser than rocket science today, because it enables you to live a much better healthy life. The food you eat, the way you stay healthy, you take supplements, you take medicine for everything, and at the end of the day, your DNA is something which defines you. What you are is defined by your DNA.
Just one more, talking to you is so interesting. You have created that interest in me asking you, India being a very, largely populated country and a poor country too. So the kind of vegetable you are producing, through all your this kind of research, are the ordinary person are going to avail this kind of, food, or this is meant for the upper classes of our country?
I think two components in this. One component is whether the accessibility has gone to the ground roots or grassroots or not, and the second question is affordability. The first question is, when these products are made, mostly they are supported by the government grants, and the government scientist has worked on it. So they have ensured that its reachability goes to the grassroots level. They are being distributed across the administrative levels, I think through all these BDOs and all these offices, different offices. So they have schemes to roll for all those farmers which can actually work on those. So availability has been made sure through the government schemes. Affordability concerned, again coming back to the same thing, all those different improved variety of the agricultural processes or the crops which are being supported by the government are definitely price sensitive, so they are within the affordable range. However, there are also privately laid infrastructure within the country and globally as well. They might cost little better, but at the end of the day, when the products come to the market, I don't believe there is any fear for people not to be able to act.
From a different point of view also, if the produces more in number, if they're able to give you high yielding varieties, I think the produces more, and automatically cost wise also it's going to be more cost effective. That way, if we calculate it from the economic point of view, so then I think definitely that would be cost effective. If not today, then tomorrow. It all depends upon the volume of the production also.
So, what about the manpower? The manpower is going abroad. So, people are not staying here, for their own country's benefit and research. So, in this, point, what do you say?
I think it is the same fallacy when after working almost 2 decades in different organizations, I tell you, this is the most interesting fun we make. When from the organization side we try to hire somebody, we try to look for skilled manpower, and the most common statement is there is no good people in the market. And if you look on the other side, there are lakhs of people who are looking for a job opportunity, and they say there is no job in the market. So the reason I said this, it is always true that there is a balance and imbalance interplay going on. Definitely, being a very highly populated country and with a very high number of skilled and educated resources, we do not had enough opportunity for them to immediately get absorbed. So they jump in for a betterness, and I think globally there are higher infrastructure available where they can train themselves. But at the same time, Government of India has created a large set of scientific laboratories and infrastructure whereby our skilled scientists are already available, and they work on the infrastructure itself. So there is a balance between the number of people which are going, mostly the younger generation, but at the same time we do have a larger working force in terms of the scientific fraternity which are relentlessly working, and we are definitely doing good. In terms of the scientific outputs in the area of biology and many other fields of research, we are definitely doing amazing things which we must take credit with. But yes, just that we produce more manpower than many part of the world, which are skilled, which are meritorious, which are ambitious, and which can compete with any global people. So why not? They should go and fight with the globe, and then at the end of the day they will be still called an Indian has done this. So I think it's good for us that we sell out more people to outside to let them know that we are the best in terms of our merits and the skills we bring in.
In terms of the
on
brain
that.
concern, I think we are ruling the world. I think that itself
definitely
is a source of immense pride for us. It should be.
After this all conversation, it reminds me again the forensic. This recent way the girl got murdered, and this happened in Kolkata, a college like R.G. Kar Medical College and an institution very prestigious. So being this forensic, you had this study and you had been a student of that, you have done the research. So can you tell me what all happened? How did they tampered? Because they are all doctors. They know how to, completely destroy. The layman cannot go and destroy the evidences. But the evidences got tampered and CBI could not do much. The reports are focusing on only one person. They had given a very good report if the evidences had not been tampered. So now tell me what all actually happened.
Well, I think this is pretty sensitive issue. We have been reading on the newspaper and watching on the televisions, and this had changed the psychology throughout India. And also globally, we have seen evidences where people have been spontaneously trying to go against and protest these kind of heinous crime which has happened. It's not a great sign that we could not treat it arguably in the best possible way as far as the forensic science is concerned. However, the report says that forensics people has been on investigation, they've collected evidences and report has been given, of course. I'm not sure what exactly happened in terms of the evidences being collected, but one of the thing to note on that is that all those movie serials or digital media, the way they project forensic biology is very smooth process. One thing we must remember is that garbage in or garbage out. It's like the good quality food, you put it on the cooking stream, your output will be great taste, right? So if the samples which has been collected from as an evidence source from the crime scene is not proper enough, which has not been collected in the right way, it has not been stored in the proper way, and then of course not being analyzed in the proper way, the overall results will definitely not be having the capacity to finally decipher what it's supposed to find out. So I'm not sure what exactly happened. We have seen media reports that they have collected evidences and a certain amount of male body fluids has been collected. There has been many different reports of large quantity, small quantity and all, and I'm sure they have been analyzed on the laboratory scale, but also at the same time there has been media reports where we came to know that the evidence collection which could have been revisited, which could not be done because there has been some renovation work which unfortunately started almost in the very next day on the RG Kar setup. That's what the media says. We also came to know that this re-examination of the body was not possible at a later time because it was not available for the forensic people to recollect the biological specimen, because this was put it into cremation quite fast. So perhaps many different things happened, but coming back to the forensic biology, we need to be extremely careful, or any forensic scientist need to be extremely careful in collecting the evidence on the right point of time as soon as possible, and most importantly protecting the crime scene so that the evidence which got missed at the first instance, it may be collected on the second visit or the third visit.
I think chances of contamination.
Yeah, so there are many different things, but as long as we collect the specimen in the right time, in the proper way, following the proper protocol, then the possibility of finding out the details through the most sophisticated analysis methods is always there. So in this case, perhaps there has been many reports which says that there could have been a better way to revisit, which could not happen. I think this issue is already under court of law, so beyond that we cannot question, and we should not question the abilities and the skills and the administrative role which has been played. But from my past experience, I can tell there should be a proper way to preserve the evidences as much as we can from a forensic point of view, so that it can be revisited.
If the doctor and the police, they are into it, that is why the preservation could not happen.
Possibly, it could be possible. Any crime, when it happens, most of the time criminals or people who are into the crime, they leave evidences.
That we have all heard about it.
Interestingly, if there are skilled set of people are involved in that business, they would know what that evidence means. And for general people, I think every medical hospital has a forensic division called forensic medicine. So I think
because that's a subject that is
so from a clinical fraternity type, they know exactly what forensic evidence means. That's a big clue. So if we have to target or raise concerns or put those people on the position of suspects, most likely they know what evidence means and what's the best possible way to erase evidences.
So they know the law, and they know how to get out of it. So they know the flaws of the laws.
Correct.
So that's also very, very essential.
And the renovation work, just immediately after that, the incident happened. So it is giving a clear message.
That's what
But it could be coincidence as well. It could be coincidence as well. It could be planned as well. It's very difficult to talk
so much
about
of ambiguity.
Absolutely,
as in this case is concerned, that very difficult. What the media houses are portraying, what it actually was, and how it was planned. So there's too much of ambiguity, and I think we have to leave the matter to time only to say what was what. It wasn't very easy at all.
It wasn't very easy. Yes. It is not at all an easy thing.
I remember
the way the whole kind of act was committed, the heinous way, and the, I would say, very cannibalistic kind of approach. Of course, that is not definitely something that would definitely want to happen to anybody, not even to a doctor, to anyone. No one deserves this kind of a death, and it was too, I would say, cannibalistic.
Yes. It is very clear now to people that if we are, targeting only one person, showing that one person, he is the culprit, but again tampering the things, the renovation work, that means that many people are involved who don't want to get their names out. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
I think I'll put it in this way as a more awareness building message for the general people beyond this case, which can be useful for everybody. The forensic works, as I talked about, based on evidences and the samples which can be collected from the crime scene or the person who has been victim in such assault cases. The most important thing for people to know in such sexual assault cases, to immediately go for a legal filing of the case, so that an medical examination and sample collection can be initiated as soon as possible. And within no time, we must be able to report it to the legal system so that this happens, number one. Number two, after this event has happened, if possible, even a urination should be checked, so that somebody should not pass on urine, because that also might have a possibility of washing it out. Any format of such evidences which can be preserved until the medical examination is done will always go in favor of the victim. And any delay for social reasons, for a fear factor, for any other unavoidable reasons will only distance the victim from the possibility of getting the justice, because if there is no evidence, there will be no answer coming in. So I think those are the most important points in such situations. Wherever somebody has to remember, it is not always a full format of a sexual scenario. Even something happens on which an evidence is like a hair being pulled out of the of the attacking person, or even a nail scratching from the person, which can have some part of the skin coming within the nail, could actually work as a very good evidence
Even
for
the bites,
biopsy.
Even
no?
the bites.
The bites.
Even the bite marks.
Bite
or
marks, we have a special
Yeah.
wing called forensic dentistry, which deals with this, where the bite marks are analyzed. Like we know our fingerprints are very, very unique. The bite prints of each person are more unique.
Correct.
So they never match with each other. So through that also, it's very easy to get hold of the person. And that also with the bite mark also comes in a lot of saliva. Saliva is a very, very good content of DNA, from which things can be, of course, used for forensic sampling. So lot of things people should be aware of these facts. But anyway, the way things are going as pertain to this case is, of course, not what we desired. So things we desire things to happen more
Hope
faster.
in coming
the power
years or days
the
or
power
months.
is knowing what is available with us and how we should preserve as
Preserve
an
it.
evidence for the
Correct.
forensic people, because nobody can play the role of God. They can only play the role of a supporting hand only when there is an evidence given
Evidence
to them,
given.
and those evidences need to be preserved, and that can only be done through the proper timely action being taken. So for general people, for all our viewers, you must know how the forensic system works, and it is enabling you to actually helping you in all this format, as long as you are willing to help yourself. So go to the system, get a medical examination, and then try to get your samples collected as soon as possible.
So again, it is a very pleasure to have you here, both of you, and would love to have you again to my show. So thank you so much.
Thanks a ton.